Hello everybody, my name is New Age Machine, and today we're going to be continuing the Icarus project. As you can see, right now I am building a communication satellite that's going to go up, and today we're actually going to attempt to put a satellite into geostationary orbit. It'll be the first of about, maybe, I'm thinking 5 or 6, because later on in the video you'll see why I might need a few. If I can get them all distanced correctly, and then there should be no problems with communications, but just with putting up this one, communication can get lost fairly easily. So not very easily, it's just there is blackout moments every couple of days. Actually, I think it's even every couple of weeks. So, but even just the slightest amount of blackout could be detrimental to a mission, like say to Elu or something. Right now, I'm just trying to put the satellite in a local orbit, so I can set everything up and try to put it out into deep space. Yes, as you can see, this isn't my first rocket. This is also not my last rocket. As you can see, that was a pretty bad orbit. I think I restart my launch sequence every now and then, and I even make some alterations to the satellite. But yeah, this is the first satellite probe. As we get further on down the road, I realize that there is not enough in that satellite. There's not enough distance provided by the communications technology. So I will ultimately have to do this again, but you won't have to see that, considering that this is a post-commentary. Post-commentary. Yeah. If you've watched my other KSP videos, you'll know I'm trying different types. I tried the first one, just kind of a live, well, not really live, but I commentated while playing. I did the same thing for the second one, except I added music in the background, but I feel like that one's not going to be as good. So I'm going to try this post-commentary thing, a lot like what Scott Manley does. I don't know, I feel like it's easier and works better that way. And right about here, I think, is where... Nope, this is just continuing that. I realized my timing was off, so I have to wait every now and then to come back in range of the Space Center. But yes, this is my first design of the satellite. It looks like an ant to me, like a weird 3-antennaed ant, kind of. But as you can see, ComSat Echo is on the outskirts right there. So Mission Control is beaming to ComSat Echo and would be beaming to ComSat Kerbo, but because of my lower orbit, I'm obviously going quite a bit faster than ComSat Kerbo. Okay, here's where we switched over. I still have the 4-pronged... no, I added one more of the outstretched communitrons, and I put a dish on top just for range purposes. Now, as you can see, I'm trying to set up my node to go to Kerbo-Stationary orbit. And geo-stationary orbit, but since we're playing Kerbal Space Program, it's Kerbo-Stationary, is about 2,875,000 meters from the surface. And what geostationary, Kerbo-Stationary orbit is, if you don't know, is basically, once I'm in that orbit, I do not move relative my location on Kerbin. So if I got into Kerbo-Stationary orbit just above Mission Control, I would always be above Mission Control if I hit a perfect geostationary orbit, which, as you will learn today, is not easy to do. Yes, I made some mistakes considering my power levels as well as my positioning to Mission Control, so I have to make quite a few revolutions to make sure everything is lined up perfectly. And I don't know why I did that, but I did. So I think I finally might come into range and all the stars are aligned and everything is perfect for me to take my launch. And yes, I do believe this is where I fire it. And yes. Alright, that is one of the... I don't remember the numbers, but that's one of the nuclear rocket engines. So speed is not my best friend here, but efficiency is. As you can see, and with my flight engineer, I have 8.5 minutes of delta V, and it's steadily going up from the loss of weight. So, if I can't get there in 8.5 minutes, there's clearly something wrong. Doesn't that thing just glow nicely? Wouldn't that make you uncomfortable? In the middle of space, burning your nuclear engine, and then look back and it's just like orange from the heat. When I get up in the Kerbo-Stationary orbit, like I said, I want to put about 5 or 6 satellites up there, just so I have I will always maintain contact with at least one satellite when I'm in the Kerbin system, whether it be going to the moon and back or around Minmus and back. So next time you watch my Kerbal Space Program videos, there will be about 5 or 6 of these bad boys up at Kerbo-Stationary orbit. I don't know yet. I don't know how many I will need, considering you'll see how I'm not way off, but I'm still slightly off to where there are blackouts every couple of days. So that could always be a problem. Plus, I'm not using the most range efficient satellite dishes. And as you can tell, most of these clips are time accelerated. They're not from Kerbal Space Program. Like, I time accelerated them on my own. That clip was not. I think that was one of the few that's not. But as we start to go out here, I have to time accelerate. And yeah, here we go. I think I come up on my Apple apps and realize that, like, okay, there's no way I'll be able to burn to even out my orbit. So I make another revolution and I move that. And right here I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm going to be connected, but I forget Kerbin is moving a little faster than I am, so I fall out of orbit before I get there, I think. But it pisses me off because I set up a pretty decent orbit, like an almost perfect geostationary orbit. And then let's give it a second and I will show you the problem. We're coming around here, still adjusting my orbit, and that looks like a pretty good orbit to me. There's my satellite. I will eject the fuel tank as well as the engine when it's all said and done. And then right there, I fall out of contact, and I'm like, well, damn. There's no way I'll be able to do my burn here. And it's a fairly large burn for this rocket motor, because this rocket motor only puts out it only has a thrust of about 60. And we have to go 408 meters per second more, which in theory is not that much for this highly efficient rocket. It just takes a while to get there. So you see the issue here. The mods I'm using again are Remote Tech, as you can see, the Flight Engineer. I do have Kerbal Alarm Clock up there at the top, but I don't have any alarms set because I don't really need them. Also, I think I have the Interstellar mod tree, but I haven't used anything regarding it yet. And I also have Deadly Reentry, so re-entering the atmosphere could potentially kill me. So there's that. But yeah, and then I think this one is finally the one I get. Nope, I lied. I fall out of orbit there. Checking the flight computer, making sure I didn't make no mistakes or anything. And I think we have to make just a few more revolutions, and then finally the stars align and I can make my burn. As you can see in the bottom, I'm way past the node, but this is weird. This gives me trouble because I set the SAS for to point at my maneuver node, and for some reason, as you can see, it might be because I'm a little ahead of my burn schedule, but still the maneuver node is moving around like crazy. So I say screw it, put it on the prograde, and then I realize it just makes my Apple apps higher. So I eventually just decide to cut it and wait until I get right upon the node before I start firing. Any second now, I'll cut that engine and be like, okay, this is relentless, it's not gonna work. Oh yes, I loaded a quick save before then because I had a feeling something like that was going to happen. So I decided to wait till I get to my maneuver node, and then once I'm like right upon the maneuver node, right now, see, you even saw it pointed towards me, so I have connection now. And the maneuver node is still moving around. As you can see, you can watch. This is time accelerated. but as you can watch, my apoapse keeps moving, and the whole orbit just keeps making like a hula hoop type motion, and I don't know what caused that. If it was just a glitch in the system, or if gravity just decided to be like, hey, I'm gonna be a big dick today. But overall, it'll eventually line up. Had some issues, and once I finish making my orbit, I try to fix it and align it and try to get it as perfect as possible, but unfortunately, even in space travel, nothing's perfect. And yeah, I think I get pretty close, but like I said, not perfect. So as you can see right now, I'm just on the horizon of mission control, so even the slightest setback of time, oh, that beautiful Kerbin, but even the slightest setback, if I'm going slightly slower than Kerbin's orbit, or Kerbin's revolutions, I apologize, I will lose connection, as you see I just did. So now I have to time warp and wait for it all to sync back up. As I look, I'm slightly confused. So there goes my maneuver node. And ComSat Echo isn't helping because I realized I didn't put any long range communications dishes on Echo. It'll still connect to me every now and then, but not very much. As you can see, I came back in contact with mission control, so I decided to readjust everything, try to make it as perfectly. This orbit isn't near as perfect. I think I ultimately ended up saying screw it, stick with this orbit because it's pretty close, but I don't exactly remember what I do. I try moving the node around, see if I can make it easier, which is a good thing to do if your orbit, or your maneuver nodes are not lining up and they're not doing what you want them to do. Try moving around the node and it could help. It didn't in this case, but every scenario is different. Yeah, it seems everything I do is just fruitless and is not working, so I eventually just kind of say screw it. I'll stick with my original orbit, as I did here. And we're pretty good with connection-wise. I'm pretty well above mission control. Oh, no, looks like I'm still making some adjustments. I'm pretty well above mission control, so as long as I can stay within this general area, it'll be fine. I'll always have connection. And on this satellite, as you saw, I put a communitron dish on top, which is the one pointing at mission control, and I have 4 of the outstretched communitron antennas, which once I get up some other satellites in the air, I will point those at those dishes, so we have an array of just communication that will hopefully never fail. As I think I decided, well, oh no, I have a 1 second burn to try to even things out. I guess I ultimately did find a way to make it close. See, as you can see, my apoapse is just above 3 million, which I need to bring that down a little bit, which I think is what I'm about to do. My periapsis is it's 100 kilometers, yeah, that's what I'm doing. My periapsis is just 100 kilometers below what geostationary was. So I'm actually in a slightly lower orbit than geostationary orbit. So I will be going just barely faster than Kerbin's orbit. So that's why I need the multiple satellites in the air. But once I put up the other satellites, I'll try to match as perfectly as possible Kerbo's orbit, so they'll all be as even as possible. That way we'll all have a chain link of communications and it will never fail. I still try to make some adjustments. I think I try to make the periapse higher just so I don't have to deal with it being that slow, but ultimately what it ends up happening is my orbit just becomes just slightly faster than Kerbin's. Making just a few adjustments here, trying to perfect everything. As you can see, my apoapse was about 1,000, or I'm sorry, was about 100 kilometers. Not even. I think it was like 10 kilometers higher than what it needed to be. Got a time warp out here, and I don't quite remember what happened. I think I lost connection or lost power. Oh, yep, I lost connection and power. I got an eclipse from Kerbin, so no power in the solar panels. I'm trying to be like, well, damn. I find out I don't have any power, which ultimately kills the communicatron dishes, which means I have no communications. So that thing was basically dead in space. So I decided to wait till I swing around here, and then realize I'm not orbiting fast enough to get behind, or I'm sorry, get Kerbin to get in front of the sun and be in the same position. So I ultimately had to give up on trying this maneuver. I had charge left, and it was a short burn, but I didn't really want to risk free burning and then running out of power. Whee! That quick spin around. That's dizzying right there. Yeah, I just waited and waited and waited and tried to figure it out. We're going on 14 days now, so I figured I'll give it one last shot, and now I'm not even connected to Kerbin. So now I have to wait for it to swing all the way around to come reconnected so I can detach this bottom part. Excuse me. Whee! Isn't that fun? We're coming around. Yes, and I got connected. So now I think what I'm going to do is zoom in and detach. Yeah, the maneuver node's going crazy. I had to fire real quick to see if that would stop. Yes, I think we're on 56 days. I can't see. It's either 56 or 36. I know this mission took quite a while. I'm sorry it wasn't a perfect. I don't perfectly calculate all this stuff beforehand. I kind of do a lot of it by eye. And ultimately, do I do the burn? I do not remember. I might do the burn and fix everything. Because as you can see, my apoapse is actually pretty high right now. We're burning, we're burning, we're burning. And we got a pretty close orbit, but my periapse is just way too low. But it's pretty close, so I think I'm going to leave it here. No, wait, I'm sorry. Past me was not very, he was very tired, so he was not using much logic. But ultimately, I think I just leave it here. I end up detaching the bottom part right here, and I release beautiful ComSat Kerbo into the sun. Wow, that's actually a good shot. And we do some spinning. I don't know what happened there. It started spinning because I wanted to point it at Kerbin, and then it would not stop spinning. But yes, I'm going to leave it here with this beautiful image of Kerbin in the background. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, please leave a like and comment any advice you have, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more KSP. Also, go check out my most recent video of Fallout. I think you guys would like it. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. There's a few rotations every now and then because it's not a perfect geostationary orbit. There's a few rotations every now and then where I'm on the other side of Kerbin over here, because, like I said, it's not a perfect, like, we're close, but we're not perfect. So that's why I'm going to put up, give or take 5 or 6. I want to say 6 just because it's an even number, but I'm not 100% sure. Now, as you can see, maybe not as you can see. Never mind. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, next time I post a video, there's going to be 5 of these satellites around ComSat Echo and Kerbo, and I think we are going to send a probe mission to the moon. Maybe, maybe not. I might have to put some satellites around the moon first. Yes, that's what I'll do next time. I will put satellites around moon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like and comment any advice you see. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys.